we're going to discuss looping today. Loop haibasi kamaina tauge aduga Python da loop kamaina semudage haibutuni akoina discuss tawgadorse. The loop si karino loop si kana basi karino haibasi koi hana yengasi ko. So if we want to execute a program segment repeatedly, then we can use the concept of loops. The looping capabilities enable us to develop concise programs containing repetitive processes for both known and unknown number of repetitions. In looping, sequences of statements are executed until some conditions for determination of loop are satisfied. A program loop therefore consists of two segments. One known as the control statement, and the other is known as the body of the loop. The control statement tests certain conditions and then directs the repeated execution of the statements contained in the body of the loop. In general, a looping process consists of 4 steps. Number 1, setting and initialization of the condition variable. Second, execution of the statements in the body of the loop. Third, test for a specified value of the condition variable for execution of the loop. For updating the condition statement. See, for 4 steps here for looping process. Python provides 2 ways of performing loop operations: the while loop haibama, the for loop haibama. Python the loop akal ani sisinagani, while loop ama, for loop ama. Okay. First, let us look at variable reassignment. Variable reassignment as we have discovered, it is legal to make more than one assignment to the same variable. A new assignment makes an existing variable refer to a new value and stop referring to the old value. So let me remove the output of all cells. Say for example here, first we have assigned the value 5 to x. So when I run this cell, the value 5, the integer value 5 is assigned to the variable x. Then in the next step, we can again assign the integer value 3 to the variable x. 3 is x option. And when I run the second cell, see we variable reassignment hana x the 5 hariba value 0 me mathangi step ta aina amuk x the 3 hariba variable 3 hariba value is assign toksale aduna variable reassignment x the hana 5 assign to wa the corner 3 amuk assign to wa wow so variable reassignment kawi aduna while last le x ki value is that is the value of x corresponding to the latest assignment, which is 3. The first time we display x, its value is 5. The second time, its value is 3. So that a common source of confusion. Because Python uses the equal sign for assignment, it is tempting to interpret a statement like a equals b as a mathematical proposition of equality. That is the claim that a and b are equal. But this interpretation is wrong. See, I will take off A and B. Equal to sign have a say Python programming the money have nate assignment have ni go. Aduna A equals B have a say A B money have nate A B money and halagadi. That interpretation is wrong. Equal sign means yet the label value do or the variable to the absolute have ni go money have nate. So the reassigning variables is often useful, but you should use it with caution. If the value of variable changes frequently, it can make the code difficult to read and debug. Code ID I can program though. And a variable reassignment programs it may be difficult to read and debug ID. programs data problem la agadi ko adu equina problem tidoga chumthokudo adu debug to ko ko na a variable reassignment yam toina to su my program may be difficult to read and debug. Next updating variables. What is updating variables? A common kind of reassignment is an update where the new value of the variable depends on the old value. So for example, in the last assignment, the value of x was 3. That is 3 was assigned to x. So here x is 3. Updating x 3 high values data, you add 1. So what do you get on the right side? 3 plus 1 is 4. Then this 4 is assigned to the value x. So when I run this cell, the value of x will be 4. This means get the current value of x. Right hand side meaning get the current value of x, add 1, and then update x with the new value. So get the current value of x, add 1, and then update x with the new value, that is 4. If you try to update a variable that does not exist, you get an error because Python evaluates the right side before it assigns a value to the variable. For example, u equals u plus 1. Programs data we have not defined u yet. U have a variables define togri magi value assign togri ko. Aduna swaina define togriba value assign togriba variable amada in a 1 isn't say this will lead to an error because the value of u is not known yet. So let me run this cell. You will get an error. What is that? The name u is not yet defined. U is defined togri. U defined the you have to assign some value to the variable u. Only then you can update the value of u. So if you want to define the value of u, let us say u equal assignment u assignment 7. So now u equals 7 means 7 is assigned to u. Now I can update u. U equals 7 and u is defined 7 value is used assigned. Now when I run this cell again, there will be no error. We'll get 8 as the output. There I go. U equals 7. Now 7 plus 1, 8. 8 key values u then u the value to print out. There I go. So if I remove this, the variable u is not defined, so you cannot update it. Yeah, okay. Before you can update a variable, you have to initialize it. It is initialize it usually with a simple assignment. In x, so in a variable hana update to variable to hana define initialize hana x equal to some value assigned to. So here 0 is assigned to the variable x. X higher variables the 0 higher value is assigned to. So when I run this cell, what will be the output? Get. So x value when I run this cell.
1.
1 taniko. Because x equals 0 have the x is 0 in the next step 0 to the 1 pinzale answer 1 to x so x value print we should get 1 to make up. So updating a variable by adding 1 is called increment, and subtracting 1 from a variable is called a decrement. Variable 1 add increment variable 1 we call it decrement. I variable reassignment idea variable update. Now we can come to the idea of loop. So as a first instance of loop, the while statement see the loop see Python provides two ways for performing loop operations. While loop for loop. So let us start with the while loop. while loop the while statement. So computers are often used to automate repetitive tasks. Repeating identical or similar tasks without making errors is something that computers do well and people do poorly. In a computer program, repetition is also called iteration. Computer programs task khara hanjan repeat repeating task computer they perform this repetition without making any error. Computer task repeat errors boring human pot same pot hanjan sum tau haragadi ai boring surakani ko soibusu yorpa yaiba aduna computer advantage repeating identical or similar tasks without making error, without getting bored, and also they can do it very fast. Computer program da repeat to was iteration high. While loop is used to repeat a set of statements as long as a condition is true. The while loop is used to repeat a set of statements as long as a condition is true. If I have branching decision making and branching decision making and branching if haraga condition pirani if haraga conditional execution if harani condition pirani condition true or sigi next laiba magi body sigi if ki body je sigi statement si execute torgani sumbra adu kramane sidasu while haraga condition pirani and as long as the condition is true, the statement indent torgala statements in very indent torgala print n hybridism indent torgala n equals n minus 1 hybridism indent torgala. As long as this condition is true, these two statements are executed. N values is change n equals n minus 1. Say value 1 subtracting 1 is called a decrement. N values is every step to some decrement ultimately n greater than 0 is false or I loop sigma pana tola print blast off. So programs n equals 3 3 numbers n variables assigned while n is greater than 0 n is in 1 while this n is greater than 0 semicolon magi body indent while n is greater than 0 n is 3 so 3 is greater than 0 so this condition is true. Condition is true or magi body statement execute number 1 the print n is print n value 3 so 3 will be printed. Next step to n equals n minus 1 3 to the 1 2 tare. Now this value 2 is assigned to the value n. N is 2 tare condition you come back to this condition again. N is 2 is the come back to this condition again. 2 greater than 0, is it true? Yes, this is true. Print n 2 the print next step to n minus 1 so 2 minus 1 will be 1 value n store step condition check n equal to 1. Is it greater than 0? Yes, true or now this print n n print 1 print in the next step 1 to the 1 1 minus 1 will be 0 0 is n assigned so n becomes 0 now. Now I come back to the n greater than 0 high condition check the wala. So latest value of n can 0. 0 greater than 0. Is it true? No, this is not true. So this becomes false. False whatever in magi body ani si execute tawroi. Next line the line. Next line they can print blast off. So this is how this program functions. So when I run this program, printer 3, 2, 1, blast off. Printer so 3, 2, 1, blast off. So 3, 2, 1 is new line is because every print statement, it takes the cursor to the next line. Aduna the n attribute option bi ending attribute option bi separation attribute option bi by default print n it takes the cursor to the next line. Next line the printer is. So this is the you can almost read this while statement as if it were English. It means while n is greater than 0, display the value of n and then decrement n. When you get to 0, when n equals 0, display the word blast off. So more formally, here is the flow of execution for a while statement. So give while statement, give flow of execution to yang. So number 1, determine whether the condition is true or false. Condition number true or false. Here n is n value initialize 3. So initial value of n is 3. So the condition is 3 greater than 0. 3 greater than 0 this is true. So if the condition is true, run the body and then go back to step 1. Step 1 follow over. So if the condition is true, body statement uneasy run statement uneasy run to condition check to body is statement uneasy while loop body is because these two are indented. Indent original these two are indented. Indent these two lines, these two statements are indented, and we know that these two statements are the body of the while loop. While loop body have indent okay. Aduna, if the condition is true, run the body and then go back to step 1. Step 1. Body is run step 1. Condition check. And this type of flow is called a loop because the third step loops back around to the top. So loop statement uneasy run condition check. So this is called loop. If the condition is false, exit the while statement and continue execution at the next statement. Condition is false over target. While loop body uneasy jump out body uneasy execute. So when the condition is false, the while loop is exited. While loop key magi statement uneasy run to while loop while matang the level statement matang statement print blast off. So number 2 if false, exit the while statement and continue execution at the next statement. Next statement have the indent while same statement to execute as long as this condition is true, the body of the while loop is executed. The moment this condition is false, we exit the while loop. While loop next statement is The body of the loop should change the value of one or more variables so that the condition becomes false eventually and the loop terminates. Aduna sigi while loop sigi body sida variable amadi change to here n is changing. Here n is changing. N is decremented by 1. So in each loop, the value of n will decrease by 1 and ultimately this condition will be violated. This condition will becomes false. Ultimately, this condition will becomes false. And the moment this condition becomes false, the loop terminates. Loop to the lower whenever. I don't know. I could loop it terminate variable happening. Variable do value to change the here, then variable is n. Otherwise, and variable otherwise the loop will repeat forever, which is called an infinite loop. Loop say variable n loop se terminate while n is greater than 0 print n n value is 3 so this condition will be always true. Therefore, this statement will always be executed. 3 3 3 3 3 3 3 adum print out infinite loop loop se terminate condition variable say change either increase or decrease so that the condition ultimately becomes false. Loop se terminate the colon at the end of the while loop is essential and marks the beginning of the indented block of statements inside the loop. While conditions people colon colon this colon marks the beginning of the indented block. Colon indented block in this colon marks the beginning of the indented block of statements inside the loop. If condition conditions people colon colon indented block of statements if the zuka smine while the zoo condition colon 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 indented block of statements okay loop a variable change so that ultimately this condition becomes false and the loop exits and we exit the loop. The loop method break. Sometimes you don't know it is time to end a loop until you get halfway through the body. In that case, you can use the break statement to jump out of the loop. Jump out of the loop by the loop's exit. For example, suppose you want to take input from the users until they type the word done. You could write this. You could write the program like this. You could write the program like this. While true the condition piramdre. The condition of the piramdre true the condition is always true. The condition is always true. While true the condition is the condition while true until you come across the break step break while true line equal to input 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 if line is equal to done input say done string break loop break otherwise else so the else hydrobanina breaks the see if line is equal to done true or loop print the line. So input input to line and store print the line and print done. So let me run this cell. Let me run this cell and say manage the input input C yes yes hajalage adu enter namage ko enter yes kare yes so print lines na whatever I have entered it is printing ko input amu lore ko aina sida yes and pisan gridu input sange adu yes becomes a string hariba string ji line hariba variables hapsale the mathang da aina check tawre sigi line sida yoriba string ji dan ji ga manabra manaragadi break tawro haibani ko manadragadi print line do print tawro haiba print tawre adudagi loop sida mu hale ko sinatra sai loop sigi body je loibaga loop ki beginning da mu halo haibni ko loop sigi body je sida loire sida loibadagi we come back to the condition again sida condition do kaino true condition is always true oilere adreidi amu sigi input che amu hore ama amu piro haire sida no amu harege execute amu tawsi enter namasi sida no amu hare no hare wasi sigi input na string da convert tawre line hariba variables hapsale if line is equal to done and hapsali ba string di no ni no ko done gadi manabra manade adu gadi si break tawroi mathang da lani print line asiki aina enter tawriba no do print tawrani and then we come back to the condition again here the condition is true condition is true oirabani sigi loop si adum run taw lairaneba karam kan bo run taw lairani until and unless I give the input done sigi done haiba input chi pidri gaidi sigi loop chi adum ung lairaneba so since done done machani dina ko let me try done done si yabri yengse done done macha or kind of break down have never so let me put in all caps lock tharaga uppercase hapsala ge done done they press enter done loop se break tawdre done ji print tawre adu dagidi kaidawre done ji print tawre it goes back to the condition again condition ji true ore banina sigi magi body ji execute tawre enter tawro sum highlight sumaina amu adu dagidi jk kaja hajalaji adu su yadre adum loop se adum ung leraneba karai ba ungani aina pisaliba input se done haiba wa hije pisandribo adum ung leraneba loop se ko and on the input piro adum highlight enable so ultimately to break the loop let me enter done done then harage enter namage enter nam so enter namari kadore so done haiba string ji line da hapchalle sida condition to check tore line ji ga done ji ga manabra line is equal to done yes manare adu true ore adu break to haibi while loop sigi mapan thole while loop sigi mapan thole while loop si execute toramadu while loop si exit tore adu while loop si mathang statement kaino print done capital D na hobo done haibi print toraga social level programs so this is how break haibi is why season of vi haibi never so the loop condition is true which is always true so true highlight banina this is always true so the loop runs until it hits the break statement so break hariba statement je encounter tawdribaudi sigi loop se adum ung leraneba adum ung leraneba adum break statement je mana encounter tawgedi karam kan tawani aina pisaliba input se line haiba store tawini line jiga done hariba string jiga mana kan dang break toraneba so each time true it prompts the user with an angle bracket if the user types done the break statement exits the loop otherwise the program echoes whatever the user types and goes back to the top of the loop this way of writing while loops is common because you can check the condition anywhere in the loop not just at the beginning sidadi akoina mamang da tawgibadadi sigi condition je check tawbani ko sigi true oidu false ore kanda ai loop sidagi exit torpani aduga sigi sidana pedore mathaki high first condition je matam chopuda true thame aduga marak sida aina if statement ama hapaga break to la pu yae chini ko so haija. This way of writing loops is common because you can check the condition anywhere in the loop, not just at the top to the check because top to the true dum thamai ba. And you can check the condition anywhere in the loop by using a if statement and a break statement. And you can express the stop condition affirmatively. Affirmatively, you know, stop when this particular thing happens, rather than negatively. I think, you know, keep going until that happens. Negatively, you know, negatively. Engine sorry gay. Adum tawro haiba. Engine picture gay. Engine head chawdaba mikup to have never seen. Sina negatively never go. Aduga sigizina affirmatively never. Sigamana kind of to have. Sigizina kai have. Sigi statement false or kind of to have. Sigizana sigi condition true or kind of to have. And go. Sidana sigi condition false or kind of to have any. Sidana sigi condition true or kind of break to have any. Aduna that we call affirmative condition. Earlier one we call negative condition. Say that quick example of the example of yango. Ado matamzi lo sila kadore aduna ina kanbada examples we can discuss the example in the next session. So I'll stop recording here.